Deep breath all the way in and out. And I'm Reverend Deborah Ramirez, and as pastor, I'm very pleased to welcome our dear Reverend Marilyn to the stand. Dr. Reverend Marilyn Johnson Kozlow. She's worked hard. And I've known her a long time, and we're just carrying on. There's so much beauty, when you meet someone that you just feel that essence and that pure, genuine caring of wanting to get to know them better and get to understand their story. Everybody has a story. And Reverend Marilyn's always been one of those special people who does that. Reverend Marilyn has been a spiritualist with Harmony Grove Spiritualist Association since 2008. And she's a resident of Harmony Grove, has her mediumship and healing certificates from there, and is approved as an HGSA psychic fair reader. She was ordained as an HGSA minister in December in 2019. And there's so much with going through the process of becoming a light worker. But the work really begins after you become ordained. And she takes it very seriously and with so much love. Let's welcome warmly, please, Dr.
Thank you so much. It's been a while since I've talked here, and I'm very pleased to be here and very glad to see you all. And it used to be set up a little bit differently, so I'm just standing here for a minute, just to look at where I'm at. There you are, and here I am. And so today, what my talk is about is kind of funny, actually. When you hear the title is Fear and Spirituality. Oh my God. And it's so funny because when on Facebook, when I was described as being such an upbeat, happy person and all this, and here I'm coming in to talk about fear. Thank you for closing that door. I appreciate it. Yeah, fear. And not only am I talking about fear, but I had 3 previous topics that I was working on, and they're funny too. One was called It's a Blessing, as in a blessing in disguise. Don't you hate to hear people say that?
Yeah.
And the second one was patience, like having patience. And then the other one was being humbled, and that was being humbled, being put to your knees. And a lot of people maybe are going through things since COVID began. Like you said, I got ordained in December of 2019, and then boom. Early in 2020, our lives kind of changed. It's been a lot of people, I think, have had a lot of shifting things going on in their life, including myself. So these things are relevant to me, and that's what I like to talk about. And so here's why I think it's important to talk about fear. Do we like fear? Do we like to sometimes say, don't be fearful? It's like scoot it over to the side, all about positivity and all this stuff. I'm here to tell you that, it's not like that. Even though we used to think so in the 80s and New Age, everything was like, every doggone thing had to be positive. Okay, so I'm going off course a little bit right now. Got sidestepped a little bit there. But anyway, in the 1980s, we really kind of just focused on being positive. And then recently we've talked about shadow work. Anybody heard of shadow work? So, right? Shadow work. And that's where we look at some dark things in our lives. But here's why I think fear is so important in spirituality. We ourselves set ourselves to do particular things in this life, challenges. And we all have challenges, right? And so the only way I feel, and I might be like a little bit too intense right now about this. I'm going to try not to be too intense. But the only way that I think that we truly spiritually grow is when we are challenged. Whatever that thing is that we don't like to look at is the thing that we have to deal with. And and I believe that we set those things up so that this life counts, so that this life is the life that we become more than we were. We become beyond. We go beyond what we were. And that part is the total spiritual part. That's the part that's so very beautiful. And so, however, here's what I think. We're afraid to look at that one thing, whatever that one thing is. We don't like to look at it. We want to not look at it. We might want to, this is my joke to myself, we might want to overeat. That's what we might want to do. We might want to do anything to not look at that thing, but we are experiencing a kind of fear about the whole thing. The fear to look at it, and that's why fear kind of goes with spirituality. Okay, as a reverend and as a healer, which is what I really consider myself to mostly be, is a healer, we can feel that stuff in people's bodies, and it shows up as being stuck. Whatever the thing is that we did not look at, the forgiveness, the anger that we still have from way back when, the grief that was unexpressed, the guilt that got attached to the grief, all of those things, we can feel them in people's bodies. And that's the thing that is so important for us to look at, is to confront the fear. So why am I talking about this now? Well, I had a little experience, and Spirit talked to me. I was driving on the route from Ramona to Escondido on the curvy, windy road. Do you know that? What's the name of that?
67. No, 60.
It's 78.
78.
It's 78, but some people call it Clevenger grade, and then some people call it Ramona grade. Anyway, it's 78, and it's like this. Down, down, down. Okay, so I was at the top part, and I'm a slow driver. Super slow driver, but I was going a little bit too fast, and I took one of the corners too fast, and it was on the going down part, the part where there's a sheer, pretty close. It wasn't right there, but I did feel afraid. I was aware of the fear that I had, and then this is what happened at that very second. Spirit, and this is going to be a short talk, just so. It's not going to go on and on. Spirit whispered into my ear so gently and so beautifully, and told me that fear was a good thing when I was going down, because I felt afraid when I was going down the hill. But Spirit was talking to me. It was a female spirit. She was talking to me as fear in life, the spiritual kind of fear. She wasn't exactly talking about that. She was referring to when you have the fear that's associated, because I think it is a fear when we don't confront that thing, whatever it is. And it makes you feel imbalanced. So I'm going back to the spiritual thing right now. I'm forgetting about the little curvy thing. I'm talking about when we are spiritually confronting that issue. And oftentimes it has to do with loss of health, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of something in our life, and it's serious. How do we get past it? Do we get stuck? Will you confront that issue, which takes a kind of courage to deal with that fear, to deal with that issue. And every single person that's sitting here has one. Every single person. That's my belief. So I'm gonna look down at my notes. She told me that fear was good, that it was spiritually useful because ultimately it helped to toughen me up in a way that I could deal with the issue. Do you think I'm confronting some issues right now? Yes, very much so. And so if you feel that fear, it can help you, let's see if I say this right, I want to make sure I say it right. When you look at that fear, that's when you can take the jump to confront the issue. That's when you can do it. When you can actually feel that fear. I'm not going to say that word anymore. So we become more alert when we are afraid. And it gives me the opportunity to learn my lesson. So this sense of spiritual imbalance is kind of a gift. So, I have a choice. Will my fear lead me to some sort of freedom from the thing that I don't want to look at? Or will I go toward collapse and inertia? I've seen people go to collapse and inertia for years and years and years and years. Years and years. And remember that the lessons that we gave ourselves are not particularly easy ones. We didn't come here to have an easy lesson, a harder one. So anyway, follow your fear. Face the fear. What is it that I need to confront in my spiritual life? What is holding me back on the next step of my spiritual journey? Where am I stuck? Where am I stuck? Sometimes you can feel it in your body. That is the one place for the great opportunity for growth. When you look at it, that's where, if you do it, if you look at it, if you deal with it, that's where we can where is he?
It doesn't matter.
It's in the wrong spot. I need to put my hand over there. That's my problem. I'll put it up here. Okay, that was the greatest fear that I had to talk today.
I did it anyways.
I know I did it anyway. Now here's the good thing. If you don't deal with the fear, guess what happens?
It comes
It
back.
It comes right back! So, heck, you might as well deal with it. All right, so anyway, I have two more things. Yesterday, I went to a place, and I was in public, and a person sat down next to me. It was outdoors, and so I started talking. I just felt Spirit actually talk to me, and to connect with this particular person. Another person was over here, and another person was over here. I didn't talk to them. I just talked to this one person. Well, guess what? She needed some talking to, because she was super stuck. And as healers, I'm very sensitive the way that but I'm just telling to you that she needed someone to kind of talk to her about how it had been 2 years, although I didn't say these words. She was stuck in her grief, her thoughts about her husband. This was the first time that she had been out, and it was a perfect time for her to make a change and look at that, because she had been stuck for years. So I'm not telling you all the details, but I'm just saying that we can also help other people in talking with them and sitting with them. All right, so the last thing I'm going to say is when I wrote this talk, I used some oracle cards, and the message that I received from the oracle cards, this was Rumi oracle cards by Alana Fairchild, and I didn't bring those cards, but the card itself was called Beyond Death, Life. Beyond Death, Life. Intense, right? But anyway, so this is what it said. It's time to let go. For what you currently have is too small for your soul. We are in the sacred crucible, or the proving ground of life. There is nothing to fear. There may be grief, loss, uncertainty, but your heart is big enough to receive the joy and letting go of old ways of being. Be willing to face that inner death. Let go and gaze at the new life that is calling you. You are a beautiful, blazing soul having a human experience that defies explanation and opens you up to divinity.